What I wanted to talk to you guys about is a couple of posts ago. I'm not sure when I posted it, probably a couple of weeks ago. I posted something about, I believe, about quiet time, and someone had asked if I had any hints about quiet time, and I never got a chance to answer because I was planning on doing a video or a live Instagram on it. And so I didn't answer, and I thought, I better get that together and answer that now. So this is about quiet time, what you want to do days before, the day before, and that day of. And so I'm going to go over some of those things that's helped me with my quiet time. Quiet time means different things for many people, but for me, quiet time is spending time with the Lord, meaning that I'm doing my Bible study, I'm reading the Word of God, I'm communing with Him, I'm praying, that type of thing. But quiet time can be anything, just some time maybe even to do art or whatever it may be. And so this can really apply to you as well. So no matter what you view quiet time as, I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I myself do to prepare myself for my quiet time. And again, for me, it's about God, it's about the Lord and studying the Word of God. So just kind of bear that in mind. So there is no right or wrong way of having quiet time. There are different forms of it, just like there's different ways to do it. But this is what has worked for me, and I just wanted to share that with you. So days before, I would suggest that you find a place where you can have your quiet time, meaning you can have like a room. For me, I have a room since my daughters are both on their own and does not live at home with us. I have my own room for my quiet time. And that can also be a corner of your house. And in that corner, you could have a chair, a comfy chair, and maybe your basket of things that you want to work on or do during that quiet time, that quiet hour, or however much time you want to put into it. And so make it work for you, somewhere where you're going to feel comfortable and you're going to be encouraged and inspired to have your quiet time, okay? And so again, for me, it's a whole room. And I just put it together recently, probably a little bit about a month ago. And the reason I started to finally do that is because I have realized that, and I commented this on someone's post today, I realized that this past year, I have been basically having my quiet time I don't have it scheduled. I have it at any time of the day. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, honestly, it wasn't working out. I end up getting up, getting to work, thinking I'm going to have my quiet time at work and I'll get tea or whatever, but it never happens. Well, it has happened a few times, but in general, it doesn't happen. If I don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. Again, that's for me. Some people have the discipline to be able to do that without a schedule, and that's fine. But for me, I need a schedule. And so I need a place where I'm going to do this. And the second thing for that is that you need a place where you don't have any distractions. Sometimes it's hard to find a place that doesn't distract you. But for me, some of the distractions were, I used to have my quiet time in my studio at home. Well, I have all kinds of art things in there. My planners, my journals, and just all sorts of things that I sometimes work on when I'm at home. And guess what? I see that on the desk. I see it, laying around, and it makes me want to go or it distracts me. I start actually thinking about the things that I'm looking at. And so that's not a good place for me. So yeah, have a place where it's not going to be distracting to you. So the night before, you want to prepare all the things that you need for your quiet time. I would suggest that you actually have these things all the time in the same place. But sometimes there are new things that we want to use or what have you. Prepare that ahead of time, okay? And so the day before or the night before, what you want to do is make sure that you have an alarm clock. Whatever time you're planning on getting up, then either you set an alarm or you set an alarm in your mind. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but for me, what I do is right before I go to bed, I look at the time and then I think in my mind what time I want to get up, and I basically get up at that time. It's clockwork. And now I don't even need to think about that. I just wake up at 5 o'clock because I've been doing this for over a month now. I've been getting up at 5. This is something I used to do, and like I said earlier, I've gotten away from it, and now I'm doing it again. And I've chosen 5 o'clock because at the studio, I typically am here by 7:30 in the morning. And so I need enough time to have my quiet time and just get ready to go to work and then drive to work. So there's that, setting a time, a clock, an alarm clock. Oh, and if you like to have coffee or tea, an alarm is a great idea. I just have to get up and not hit the snooze. I'm going to go over that too. So the other thing is, if you like to have coffee or tea in the morning and those during your quiet time, I would suggest that you would have all your implements ready. What I do is I use a electric water heater. And so I fill that up with water. Actually I don't fill it up with water. I fill just enough to whatever I'm planning on using the day of. So for instance, if I'm making matcha, I make a very small amount. I heat up a very small amount of water, not a large amount. And that's also key, because what happens is if you're sitting there waiting and waiting for the whole thing of water, which you're not going to use, to heat up, guess what? Either you might fall asleep or you end up getting distracted, right? So as little distraction as much as possible would be best. So if you're only going to use a little bit of water for your matcha or what have you, just get that same amount, and that's what you want to have ready. So have that ready, have your tea or your coffee ready, your mug, have it ready on the counter. I mean, keep yourself from getting distracted with other things. And so make it as easy as possible for you to make your quiet time happen. If you want a glass of water, and you always drink a glass of water, I would suggest that you get one of those, I don't know, just the water bottles that you can refill. Get one of those and get that ready the night before and put it in the area where you are going to have your quiet time, because then if you get thirsty, you don't have to get up and get water, right? It'll be right there. And also, if that becomes a hassle the night before because you're getting all the stuff ready, then have bottled water. It's that easy. Just put you can even put several of them that you're going to use for that week, and you don't have to even think about it anymore, right? It's all right there. It could be in your basket or what have you, and you're ready to go. Anything, again, to keep you from getting distracted, getting up, going to the refrigerator, because when you do that, then you start thinking about food. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I need another cup or what have you. And then sooner or later, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I've not even started on my quiet time. So as much as possible, get everything ready, no distraction. Pens, how many times have I not had the right pens that I want to use during my quiet time? Or the ink runs out because I use a fountain pen, right? It's really annoying. In those cases, a lot of times what I do is I just get any old pen that's right there, because if I got up to get another pen, I know I will be distracted. So pens are one thing you might want to get ready, and all your books, all your journals, Bible, books that you're studying, whatever, have it right there ready to go. Also, one of the important things the night before is have the attitude of anticipation, and really get yourself ready for that next morning, and think about and just be excited about it, because it really helps a lot when you think to yourself and go, oh gosh, I can't wait until I have my quiet time in the morning. Then you go to bed, and when you wake up, you're ready to go. If you're not anticipating it, if the night before you're dreading it instead, and you're going, oh man, I gotta get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I really don't want to do that, but I know I have to. How do you think you're going to feel in the morning when that 5 o'clock alarm goes off? You're going to want to hit that snooze alarm over and over and over. So you need to really make a choice and set yourself up for excitement and for the next day, and to be excited and think about how exciting it will be to get your quiet time. So that's really important. Now, in the morning of, these are some of the suggestions that I myself I do. Sometimes I fail, but for the most part, since I've been doing this again the last month, over a month, like I've said, I've really felt great about it. So on the morning of, the first thing I don't do is look at social media. I have in the past, my phone is next to my bed, and I do that because my daughters, like I said, do not live with me. They're in their early 20s, and I want to be available in case something happens. And so I always have my phone next to me. But what I've done many times this past year is I would look at my phone, look at the time, and then I start scrolling on social media. Okay, that is a huge thing. That's a huge no-no. That's a huge time waster, and definitely will keep you from getting to your quiet time. I know from experience that does happen to me. And so I do not look at any social media, email, text, or anything like that. If a text comes through with one of my daughters, let's say, it will, when I pick up my phone, I don't know about your phone, but when I pick up my phone, it'll automatically show that there's a text from them, and I can actually read what it is. And so if there's nothing on there that's from my daughters, then I won't go further and look at it. And so even if I get a text, let's say it's from a friend, I refrain from looking at it, because to me, it's not that important. It's more important for me to have my quiet time, and so I won't look at my phone. So that's really huge for me. I don't know if that's huge for you. Maybe you can get on your phone and start looking at social media for about 5-10 minutes and then put it down. That doesn't happen for me most of the time, so I get involved with it. So no social media. And if you have to put the phone in another room, then do that, so that you won't be tempted. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't tempt yourself. Put it in another room if you have to. Get an alarm clock that is not on your phone and use that. Or again, use your mental alarm clock. See if that'll work for you. And also, again, just like I said the night before, you want to set yourself up to thinking how exciting it's going to be. Make sure that you set your mind up to not hit that snooze, okay? Just tell yourself, as soon as that alarm goes off, I am going to get up, and I'm gonna go, for me, that's downstairs, and go and start my quiet time. So basically, the bottom line is your quiet time is something that you have to choose, and you have to decide to make happen. We all have 24 hours in our day, and we all make choices on what to put our time into. And if you don't make that decision, that's fine, that's up to you. But the biggest part of this whole thing of being able to be successful in having a quiet time is making that choice, making that decision, and setting yourself up as much as you can for success. 5 minutes, I think you can find 5 minutes of your time, and then as time goes on, you'll become addicted to it, and you'll want more time, right? And then maybe you'll even get up before 5 o'clock. So a lot of people that may be watching this have kids, have little kids, And what I have done in the past, actually, when my girls were little, I believe 2 and 4. I had one of my daughters, my eldest, Krista. She doesn't sleep very well. She wakes up, and when she's awake, she is up. She's very much like me. And so what I've had to do, she used to wake up at 6 o'clock on the dot. And the first thing she does is she looks for me. So I set myself up with a quiet area with a couch and everything. And I made a decision at that time for me to get any quiet time whatsoever, since both of my girls were home with me all day, 24/7. I decided that I would get up at 5 o'clock. And I know that was hard at first for me, but I just made it happen. I just decided that it was important enough for me that I made it happen. And so it's one of those things, again, you have to decide on. And I think that's about it. Oh, and again, if you pray, then pray and ask for that time. And ask him for what it is that you need to do, what time of the day it needs to be at. Again, it can be at any time of the day. It's just, for me, it's best if it's first thing in the morning, because what happens is as soon as I start thinking about work, that's where my brain is. I can't shut it off until later on that evening. And so for me, the best time is in the morning. And when I start thinking about work, I just kind of set it aside, and I remind myself that at 7:30, which will happen soon enough, I'm going to be at the studio. So wait until then. And you know, it is a practice that you have to, it's like a muscle that you have to use and you have to follow through with. If you don't use that muscle, it's going to atrophy. So you need to just keep making it happen, even though it's a hardship sometimes. And then after a while, it just becomes second nature. And you won't have such a hard time getting up, and then you'll just be prepared. So anyway, do you guys have any questions? The sun is really coming in horribly. Another thing I do for myself is sometimes I'll open the book that I know I'm going to be studying or whatever, and I just open it on my desk in that room, in my quiet time room, because that sets me up right there, because there's other books in there. I could start reading. I'm an early morning person, so that is my time too. Oh, that's great. Thanks for sharing. I needed to hear all of it. Oh, good. So I hope you have much success in doing this. Thank you for the great ideas. You're very welcome. I know it's not an easy thing to do, is it? But again, it's just a decision, that purposing it in your heart to make it happen. Great ideas. How long is your quiet time? My quiet time that I give myself is an hour. I leave my pen and notebook next to my morning space. Perfect. See, you're doing exactly what I had suggested. That's great. I want to thank you for the recommendation of Louis Giglio's book during Advent. Oh, you're very welcome. I have lots of recommendations of books and such if you guys are interested in spiritual books. Yeah, so like I said, it's just a muscle that you have to use.